I'm ready, Aerie.
I'm sure you have the hang of it, but if there's anything you'd like to go over again, just ask. Time to get started, Agnes. Are you ready?
Yes. Let us begin.
Wait. Can I ask you something, Aerie?
Now? We're about to start the Rite of Awakening.
But what would happen if she continued to pray to the crystal even after you told her to stop?
How many times do I have to explain it? Haven't you been listening? The crystal would be destroyed if she didn't stop.
And what happens if it's destroyed?
What? That would be terrible! Mankind would no longer receive its blessings.
Well, why can't we just do without its blessings? Wouldn't we get used to it?
It's not a matter of getting used to it. I mean, without the crystals, we couldn't rid the world of darkness.
It hasn't worked in 2 tries so far.
I know, but that's not the issue here. Besides, if the crystals were destroyed, the wind! It would cease forever, and fire would rage out of control. Water would turn putrid, and the earth would dry up.
I see. Sorry for interrupting.
All right, Agnes. Let's try that again. Not yet! Just a little longer! More! Keep going! Still not enough! You can do this! Stop! That's it!
Then, it isn't a cure to rid the world of darkness.
Ring a bell! Are you all right?
Yes. Sorry about that.
You sounded as though you were in terrible pain.
No need to worry about me. I'm fine.
I've been wondering about something, Ring-a-Bell. Since we came to this world, I haven't snapped at you to stop talking once. It was every 3rd word from my mouth before.
I...
won.
You have defeated my guardian. Very well. I shall grant you the Fire Keystone.
All right, one more to go. Look!
This crystal has also reverted.
Wait, something lurks nearby.
Another creature back from destruction.
Here they come!
The crystal's blessing! Awaken the crystal before we are beset by more beasts!
Of course. I'm ready, Eri.
I'm sure you have the hang of it, but if there's anything you'd like to go over again, just ask. Time to get started, Agnes. Are you ready?
Yes. Let us begin.
Wait, may I ask you something, Agnes?
More questions?
What are the crystals? Are they really born of the Vestals?
Now's not the time for a lesson on crystal lore.
I've never heard the full story either. I'd like to know.
Let's save it for after we awaken.
The crystals are not born of the Vestals, nor are they creations of the Orthodoxy. They existed long before human civilization arose. They turn hopes and prayers into energy that builds up within them. The Vestals, then.
Yes, I know that part.
Ring a bell? You have that I'm in pain look again.
If the crystals thrive by storing the prayers of the faithful, what were they before they were objects of worship?
I cannot say. The scriptures say not of such a time. Do you know, Eri?
The crystals have always been crystals. It's simply a matter of more and more people worshipping them.
The Templars spoke on this. The crystals should be overseen by one who looks out for the good of the people, he said, not some power-hungry cult that has rotted to its core. What exactly did he mean by that?
Huh? What's he talking about? Someone care to fill me in?
I fear I do not understand either.
No, it's... Never mind. Apologies for interrupting.
More! Keep going! Still not enough! You can do this! Stop! That's it! And after you'd come so far, a pity.
I'm sorry. Forgive me. Sorry. She lives, but I failed to protect her. No!
Can you hear me? Ring a bell!
Ring a bell!
I'm sorry. Everyone, I couldn't. Forgive me.
Feeling better, Ring a bell?
Tiz, I remember everything now.
Your memory is back? That's great news!
I'm not so sure. But at least it all makes sense now.
Will you tell me?
I am Alternis Dim, the Dark Knight. I spoke before of my suspicions that we'd been transported to a parallel world. I've been seeing more and more glimpses of the past these last few days. I remember crossing swords with you, Agnes and Idia, any number of times. And I've witnessed firsthand your death at the hands of a horrible creature.
And it wasn't simply a dream?
No, a memory from a parallel world, most likely. Do you remember when we first met in Kaldisla?
Yes. In the world before last.
And what did the pattern on Ares' wings look like then? It looks like the number 3 now, but in the previous world, it was a 4.
Now that you mention it, how about the world before last?
It was a 5. I recall it clearly.
It's decreasing?
In my memory of you 3 getting killed, the pattern looked like the number 6.
And that means...
In short, I'm the Dark Knight from the world before your own.
I see. The pieces are starting to fall into place.
I don't want to believe it, but I think Eri really is... She's... I could only watch it happen. I couldn't do a thing.
Ring a bell.
I have a favor to ask, Tiz. Please tell Agnes what I just revealed to you. Sometime, someplace where Eri isn't around. Will you do this for me?
All right. Of course.
Then you'll believe me?
Final temple. Listen, why don't we go speak with the sage first?
The sage? Whatever for?
Sounds like a good idea. To the sages!
What?
Ah, I thought I heard something. This place draws few visitors, I fear. And who might you be?
I am Agnes Oblige, Vessel of the Wind.
Ho ho! Little Agnes, is it? My, how you have grown, child. You were scarce more than a little sprout when your predecessor brought you here. Now look at you, a fine woman you've become. Fine and plump and pleasantly jiggly. Why the long face? If there is anything this feeble old man can do for you, name it.
Sage, do you remember me at all?
Well, you'd better come inside. Now then, I was about to pour some tea for us, but I fear this may not be the time for sitting quietly with a hot brew.
Sage.
Let me ask you this. If I bade you come with just one other, would you know why?
Yes.
Well, this is quite astonishing. To think such events were even possible. Very well then. I will spare you the details and keep this simple. You must decide who is your most trustworthy ally. Then travel to the nearby cave with them. You will find it to the southwest of here. I shall go on ahead. I would advise you to heed my words. You must bring only one ally with you. Your other companion should wait outside the cave. I shall see you soon.
Just going to ignore me, Agnes? It's no fair. Tis gets to have all the fun.
I am sorry, Aerie. I hope you can understand.
Go on, get going already.
We'll be back soon.
Give the master my regards.
There you are. Ah, so this is the one you have chosen. I envy him. You make a fine pair. Were I 1,880 years young?
You're not ready to lay down and die yet. We know.
Do you?
And I'm the very image of the angel you encountered 1,880 years ago.
Oh, I see. I've already spoken of such matters, have I? you to come to me again?
I wanted to be alone with Agnes.
What?
You little devil, you!
Huh? No! I didn't mean it like that! At least in the way I think you're thinking!
'Tis, was it? I thought you a lost cause, but it seems you've some fire inside you. Look, she's blushing. Put the girl out of her misery with a big kiss on the lips.
Please, I'm trying to be serious here.
Tis.
No, I'm telling you, I really didn't mean it like that.
Then what did you mean?
Ringabel regained his memory, and not just part of it this time.
He did? When was this?
Just a short time ago. I'm the only one he's told so far. But he wanted me to tell you something in private. Something he remembered.
In private? I did not think Ringabel to be the sort of man to mistrust his comrades.
I believe he had his reasons.
But what could he possibly remember that would warrant such secrecy?
Before we get to that, I'd like to ask the sage about that angel he encountered.
Of course, I will tell all that I know.
Did the angel mention anything to you other than the crystals?
Other than the crystals? Yes, I believe her words were, I was deceived by the evil one. Her voice was heavy with regret.
The evil one?
This evil one used deceit to drive the 4 crystals out of control. That tore the barrier between worlds, she said, opening a way to the world beyond. No!
And was this a hypothetical future she saw?
No. The angel and her 2 comrades had stood before that evil in battle that day. It was after her allies were slain that the creature boasted of what it would do. She spoke to me with lifeless eyes drowned in tears.
What then?
As the angel faded before my eyes, she said to me, "Deliver unto me this pendant when next I return to you. And should I appear before you with the evil one, hesitate not to do what you must to us."
You speak of this pendant.
And was this evil one the angel spoke of with us when we first came to you?
Yes, I dare say so.
Then...
I could not do it. I could not, knowing I would have to slay you, Vestal. Precious girl.
I see. Then, to remove all doubt from the matter, I ask you now, this evil one.
Stop! I wish to hear no more!
Agnes,
I cannot bear to hear of matters so dreadful. For if what you say is true, then
forgive me. I never wished to put you in this position. But I cannot believe Ringabel would lie to me. Not about something like this. That's why.
You trust Ringabel then?
I do. I trust Ringabel. Along with Yudia. And you too, Agnes. I trust you all.
Very well. Then I shall trust in him too.
Thank you. We ought to be returning to the others now, Sage.
You be careful now. Ah, and before you go, there is another matter. One Lord De Rosso and I have studied this last millennium. Were you aware that should a crystal be destroyed, it will eventually regenerate?
What? Truly?
So long as its core remains, it can grow once more through the power of mortal hopes and dreams. The passing of thousands of years will see it grow to its original size and power.
And this crystalline core you speak of?
You need look no further than the pendant about your neck, my dear.
What? This stone?
A rather fine gift, wouldn't you say? I'm so delighted to see you kept it safe.
Sage.
Now, I must leave you, but not without a word of advice. Have the courage to think and act on your own. And have the courage to disobey.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
That old fart hasn't filled your head with strange thoughts, has he, Agnes?
Airy, you needn't worry about me. He did me no harm.
But I'm a Christ fairy, bound body and soul to the Vestals. Of course I worry. And yet, you've been pushing me away lately.
Christberry or not, you've no right to interfere in another's life.
What? Wait, what?
Hang on!
What?
So, Tiz, how was it?
Fine. Couldn't have gone better.
Couldn't have gone... What's going on between you two? Come on, Agnes, out with it!
Say no more, Tiz.
No, do say more. What's going on here? Yes, inquiring minds want to know. Agnes and Tiz, are you two really...
No, that's not...
Yes, that's exactly it. Isn't it, Agnes?
You mustn't encourage them, Tiz.
This is great. Been some time since we've had any good news.
Where's the sage gone?
What's this?
It's written in his hand. I await you at the chamber of the Council of Six in the land where all began. Conjurer Yulyana.
won!
You have defeated my guardian. Very well. I shall grant you the Earth Keystone.
All right! We have them all now! Let's return to Vampire Castle with haste!
Sage!
You came. I've already taught you all I know. Now it is time for us to part. You must go forth guided by your own will. To learn who you are, what you are capable of, and what you can endure. The road ahead will be hard and bitter, no doubt. Have you the resolve to persevere?
Yes!
Very well. We will begin with an alternate fate for Ringabel. A man laments alone in Idia's chamber. Go to him.
Alternis! What's happened to you?
I swore. Vowed to protect. Why, then...
Are you alright?
Am I... alright? Yes. At least... now... I am. None of it matters now. Whatever happens, let my body be rent in two, and the world come to an end. I care not. But why? Tell me! Tell me! Why? Why did you have to die? Answer me! Idea!
So, in this world, Idea is...
Alternis.
Whatever may happen, I care. You're me. You're me from back when I had nothing. I dared to ask for something, then lost all I'd found. And now you've come to end me. Very well. Nothing remains for me. I'll die by your hand. Or any other.
No! Alternis, listen!
It's no use. He's blind with grief. Here he comes!
crystal's blessing!
The putrid reek of decay, muddy waters, hunger, scorn. My earliest recollection always starts there. Abandoned by my mother at a tender age, I've always been alone, for as long as I can remember, always dancing on the razor's edge between life and death, and always have I hated my mother, my circumstance, the world, myself. At a young age, I gained the powers of darkness, and hatred was my sustenance. Then one day, my sword of hate and rage was turned aside by one who wielded a kind and just blade. The Templar saved me. He gave me a righteous rebuke, a kind family. I vowed to serve him and no other. I would lay my life down for his ideals, stake my being upon protecting those he loved. And yet, I failed.
Alternis.
I've no more need for this. This power couldn't even protect Idea.
Are you so sure? Without darkness, you'll...
It's too late, all of it. I can't return to the forces, to the council. It matters not. Take it. Take it and go in my stead. Do this for me.
Ring a bell. You are not of this world, nor are you of the world from which the other three hail. There is nowhere else you can call home, nowhere left to return. The Templar who took you in despite your dark past, those who accepted you as family, the one you love, all are denizens of another place, a world that is not your own. But with the departure of your counterpart in this world, you may now remain here if you so choose. There is a place here for you. What will you do?
I don't...
You need not decide right away. Think upon it. Now, here is an alternate fate for Idea. A man and his wife mourn their daughter's death at the central healing tower. Go to them.